As we've debated the bill and we took it up in committee and we talk about examples, and the gentleman from 37th brought up his grandfather, I thought about my grandmother, 87 years old, doesn't drive, never has. Her idea of a vacation is when my mom picks her up to bring her to my house. So she does vote, so much so that she actually was a poll worker at the elementary school that she worked at 40 plus years before retiring that I attended. And I had to call her up. Grandma, real quick, do you have an ID? No. What? She doesn't. Why would she ever use one? Just real quick, do you just have one? No. Now, under this bill, there are other ways for her to vote, but I think we're forgetting something. She was 9 years old when the suffrage movement, when the 19th Amendment was enacted. 9 years old when that right was given her. The right to vote. We love fundamental rights here in this chamber. We talk about them all the time. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. How about the right to vote shall not be infringed? This is an infringement on a right. We are making it harder for people to vote. It may not affect us directly in this chamber, because I'm sure we can pull out our wallet or purse and have an ID ready to go. But it will affect a disproportionate amount of people in our state, especially the elderly. We know that fraud does exist in some forms. Since 2004, there have been 16 cases involving election fraud. 16 cases involving election fraud. But guess who committed them? Politicians, not people on the street. Those that serve in the legislature are more likely to commit election fraud than the person on the street. That's the evidence we have. Those are the bills we should be discussing today. So what this does, we know it drives down voter turnout. In states that have enacted this type of legislation, on average, voter turnout drops 2%. 2%. Now, a gentleman from 37th brought up the fact that 32% of those in West Virginia decided to make it to the polls last election. 32%. Our message today is, well, that's just not good enough. We want to take it lower. Let's see if we can get below 30 next time around. That's the message we're sending. So don't tell me we're trying to actually improve the system. If we wanted to improve the system, first off, you would have passed the amendment I proposed yesterday. It failed. There's nothing in here for automatic voter registration. If we want to improve the system, we would include same-day voter registration, as many states have done and have seen a dramatic increase in voter turnout. It's not in this bill. So what are we really addressing? All we're doing is suppressing the right to vote. We are driving out voters. That's not the message we need to be sending to those in our state that may be affected by this, indirectly or directly. So, I think we really need to think about this before we just push the button. It polls well, people like it. We've heard comparisons to how there are numbers in certain counties that don't match up. This does nothing to change that. Let's be honest. But what it does, it affects people like my grandmother. So Grandma, if you're watching, I hope you are, put on your best outfit, because when I get back from session, we're going to take you down and get you a nice photo ID. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.